Hey everyone, welcome to Social Work 632, which is the master's project or master's thesis project. Um, I am your instructor. My name is Brad Lynn. You may have seen my name listed as Braden somewhere. That's my full name, but I go by Brad. You're welcome to call me Brad. Um, Dr. Lynn would be fine as well, but we don't need to be that formal. Brad is perfectly fine. So in this first lecture, let me just tell you what I want to do real quick. I'll tell you about myself and how you get in touch with me, since this is a fully asynchronous online course. Want to then go through sort of an introduction to the course and then talk about sort of this the first assignment here. So as I said, this course is scheduled, or at least, well, I guess scheduled to be online asynchronous. We do have the possibility of scheduling a couple of synchronous Zoom sessions if you wanted to. I'll talk more about that here in a second. But because our goal here really in this course is to get a draft of the thesis together. Um, this isn't necessarily a typical class. It's organized into modules, which I'll talk about here in a second. And there's probably much more one-on-one contact with me. So let me introduce myself a little bit more fully, and then I'll tell you how to get in touch with me. So I'm an adjunct instructor for Nazareth. This is my second semester with them. And both times I've taught the master's thesis course. I live in Buffalo, and so I'm not even on the Nazareth campus in Rochester, although I do travel there occasionally. And obviously, because of COVID, I'm working from home quite a bit, or out of my office, which is in downtown Buffalo. My full-time work is as a researcher. I'm an alcohol researcher at the Clinical and Research Institute on Addictions. Most of my work has to do with addictions treatment and studying variables that make treatment more successful. Um, as I've said, I've adjuncted for Nazareth for a little while now, and uh, um, as an adjunct, what that means is that I don't have an office on campus. I don't have a phone number on, or I don't have a phone that goes to an office on campus. So what I use is my personal cell phone. Now, because this course is sort of asynchronous online, office hours are handled a little bit differently. And I have what's called kind of a virtual open door office policy. So you are welcome to call me anytime from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. I answer if I'm available. If I can't answer, leave a message. I'll call you back. Um, my phone number is listed on the screen. It's also in the syllabus, 585-750-7328. And of course, my email is there as well. You're welcome to email anytime. I check email at least once a day, typically more. I check it at least once over the course of the weekend, typically more. If I have to be away from email from any length of time, usually I'll let you know. But as I said, the easiest way to get a hold of me probably is to call my cell phone 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Leave a message if I don't answer. I typically don't make phone calls after 9 p.m. That way I'm not, I don't have to worry about waking anyone up or disrupting anything. So if you call, sort of late in the evening or something like that, there's a chance I may not call you back until the next day. But typically I am pretty good at returning phone calls on the same day. Now, I am happy to talk outside of those hours. I understand people have to work late. That's fine. So we can make an appointment to talk at 10 p.m. if you wanted, or 10:30 or 11. Anytime. As I said, I just don't. I just typically don't like to call, too late into the evening and risk, disrupting anyone or waking anyone up. Of course, we can also set up a time to speak on Zoom. We could arrange an appointment over email. I'm happy to do that anytime. And as I said, you're welcome to email anytime as well. Um, the thesis project, although it might sound intimidating, really there's a process here, and our goal this semester is to sort of engage in a process to move forward sort of through the thesis process and produce a document that's about 80%, about an 80% complete draft of the thesis document. And so what that means is that you should think of me as a resource, as an ally, as a person who's here to help you move through that process. And it is a process. And we're going to talk more about the structure of the thesis in our next lecture, which will be in Module 2. But I didn't want to sort of overwhelm you with information at this point. So let me introduce the course. As I said, our goal this semester really here is to create about an 80% complete draft of the thesis document. In the spring semester, you're stuck with me again. You will in that semester we will take the sort of draft of the thesis and take it from sort of 80% up to a final product, and we'll also create a poster as well. I don't know at this point what the plan is for a symposium or displaying posters, things like that. It's just too early to tell. Last spring, they obviously had to cancel the symposium because that's when COVID was really ramping up and things were locked down pretty tightly. And as I said, at this point, it's just too early to tell what will be going on with a symposium or something like that. What I can tell you is that like I said, I will be the instructor for that spring semester. Our goal is to sort of create the final thesis document and then create the poster as well. So, we're sort of working together from now until end of April, beginning of May, that kind of thing. So this is obviously a normal. Let me just move myself up here. A normal 14-week semester. We'll talk about the schedule here in a second. But there are a couple of assignments, and they're all sort of in service of creating that draft of the thesis document, like I said a second ago. So there's a proposal, an outline, and then draft really number 1 and number 2. And number 1 and number 2 they're not complete drafts. I'll talk more about sort of the expectations for them in a couple of weeks. What we're going to be focusing on here in a few minutes in this lecture is the proposal. And we'll get to the details here in a second. So those are sort of the 4 assignments. There are a few other things that you can anticipate this semester. A couple of meetings with me. They could take the form of phone call. They could take the form of a Zoom meeting. They could also simply be emails that we trade. The course is organized into modules. I'll talk about the modules here in a second. And typically at the start of each module, there'll be a lecture from me, 10, 15, 20 minutes long for you to watch. And that will sort of, the purpose of each of those lectures will be to sort of outline what it is we're doing, what product we're sort of working towards, and then any other material we need to cover. Then you should expect to review and comment on a couple of drafts from peers. We'll do that later on in October. And you should expect feedback from me, obviously, on each of the assignments and the various drafts and things like that. And you should expect support from me anytime you have a question or you feel stuck or you just feel sort of jammed up. Of course, when you do meet with me, we'll be talking about progress you're making, any challenges you're having, strategies to get around those challenges, and that kind of thing. So here's the point where I'm going to pose a question to all of you. Would it be helpful if we arranged a couple of synchronous Zoom sessions? We could do 2 or 3 over the course of the semester, sort of 1 a month. We could look at 1 in September, 1 in October, if you wanted to, 1 in November. That could take the place of a couple of the meetings with me if you wanted to. So I'll tell you how I'm going to ask for your answer to that question here in a couple of minutes when we talk about sort of what we need to do here in this first module. But there's only a couple of us. I think there's 12 of us all together, so it should be pretty easy to arrange, say, a couple of hour-long Zoom sessions or something like that throughout the course of the semester, if that's a way we want to go. So give that some thought, and like I said, in a minute here, I'll tell you how I'm going to ask you to answer that question. First, though, let's talk about a couple of housekeeping things. Assignments are submitted via email, and I put my email up there, blin1 at nas.edu. You do not have to upload them to the Moodle Dropbox. When you do submit assignments, submit a Microsoft Word document. The reason for that is that I make comments on drafts using Word's comments feature. And I don't have the ability to add comments to PDFs or Pages documents. So Microsoft Word, please. If you're using Google Drive, Google Pages, that kind of thing, there is a way to export it. You can figure that out pretty easily with a Google search. But I do ask that you submit assignments to me in a Word document format. Should COVID worsen? So there isn't a time when we're all going to be sort of in the same place. So COVID hopefully will not impact our semesters together too much. If but I can't predict the future, and it absolutely could impact us. So keep an eye on your email for adjustments that we need to make, that kind of thing. I'll do my best to provide any adjustments in the video lectures that I'm going to record at the beginning of each module. With any luck, we won't have any problems with COVID, or we won't sort of feel its effects in the work that we're doing together. So let me talk about a couple of things that are now sort of course, highly unpleasant. If I should become sick with COVID, there are other NAS faculty who would step in and take my place. Obviously, I hope that doesn't happen. If one of you should become sick with COVID, please get in touch with me and let me know. The reason I'm asking is that if COVID is sort of like any illness, or sort of serious event that would happen, it would allow us to flex some due dates, potentially look at an incomplete, depending on when things happen and things like that. But if I don't hear from you that you've become ill, there's nothing I can do to sort of make accommodations. So my hope obviously is that no one gets sick. In New York, rates of COVID are particularly low right now. Of course, I'm recording this sort of in the middle of August, so that could change. And even people who do get sick with COVID, it's not always a serious illness, and so it's sort of unlikely that COVID would really derail sort of progress on the thesis. But if it does, know that there are accommodations we can make, and know that me and the college will absolutely do our best to keep people on track. But we just need to know. I need to know. So get in touch. Shoot me a quick email. Just let me know what's happened, or what's going on, and we'll make a plan from there. And like I said, should I become sick, someone and it interfered with my ability to conduct the class, someone from the department would take over for me. As I said, hopefully that doesn't happen. Like I said, I want to cover, I want to make sure all these bases are covered. So Questions about this, shoot me an email, or if we arrange a synchronous session, we can talk about it then. Give me a call. Um, this is just sort of the world we're living in right now. So let me pause the video real quick. I'm going to switch over to the schedule, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so this is our schedule. As I said, each of there's what I've arranged for are sort of 5 modules in air quotes. And generally at the end of each module, there is one of those assignments due. So the proposal is sort of due towards the end of that first module. The outline's due sort of towards the end of the second module, that kind of thing. At the beginning of each module, so for example, this module here, there'll be that short lecture that I mentioned. So the next sort of lecture for me would be available for you to watch on the 7th of September, the one after that on the 21st of September, so on and so forth. The 4th module obviously is the longest. That's about a month. The others are 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the way the module falls. I am looking at that final assignment for the semester to be due right around mid-November, and so that would mean that going into the last 2 weeks of the semester, your responsibilities for this class would be done. We can talk more about that due date as the semester sort of progresses. But here's so due dates listed here. We will review drafts of each other's thesis probably somewhere in the middle of October. But again, more, you don't need to worry about that now. More on that as we get later on in the semester. So let me pause the video real quick, and I'll go back to the PowerPoint presentation. All right, so the assignment in sort of module number 1 is the proposal. We'll talk about that in a second. But before you can write the proposal, you got to select a topic. So most social work research deals with a social problem or a special population or a combination of both. As far as I'm concerned, topics are wide open. It should be something that reflects your interests, and ideally would be something that prepares you for employment. I will happily help you select a topic. In fact, that's what I'm going to ask our first meeting be about. But some examples of sort of social problems might be something like alcohol use disorder. And so you might want to write your thesis about alcohol use disorder treatment. Special population might be veterans or refugees. And if you wanted to sort of follow along in the bullet points I've listed on the slide here, a problem that a special population have might be something like PTSD in veterans, or substance use disorder in veterans, or co-occurring mental health and substance use disorder in veterans, something like that. Trauma symptoms in refugee populations would be another example of a social problem in a special population. As I said, the topic is wide open, and it should be something that reflects your interests and gives you a specialization that you could use to take with you into the field. So the assignment for Module 1, which is due September 1st, is about a 2-page proposal, and I put the text of it here. So in that proposal, you're going to talk about your topic of interest and provide an answerable question. I'll help you craft that answerable question. The other thing that you'll need to include is a list of 10 references. Now, we're ultimately looking for about 30 references in the thesis document. So this gets you about a third of the way there. You don't have to cite all of those references in the text of the proposal, but this just helps us ensure that there's enough sources for you to create a comprehensive thesis document later on this semester. So, in preparation for writing this first, or for preparing this first assignment, this proposal, I'm going to ask you to schedule your first quote unquote meeting with me. So contact me however you like, phone, email, or we can certainly arrange a Zoom meeting if that's what you prefer. You don't have to contact me this first week because I understand you've got other things to do. But please contact me in the first week or the second week, so the week of the 17th or the 24th. We'll introduce ourselves. I do want to get to know you a little bit. And then I'm going to ask if you have any preferences related to that synchronous meeting. We'll then talk through your topic ideas so that you can write that proposal. That is the extent of this first lecture. Welcome to class. Welcome to what I would presume is just about the beginning of the end of your master's journey. Remember that I'm here to help you. I'm here to make sure your thesis goes smoothly and successfully. So think of me as a resource. When you have questions, when you have problems, reach out to me however you like. Looking forward to talking with you here in what I'm calling these first meetings and these first 2 weeks of class, and we'll go from there. All right.